Victims of abuse at a notorious Western Sydney girls' home are receiving compensation for the first time. The legal settlements have prompted calls for the New South Wales Government to formally abolish time limits for civil claims. At the same time, there's another fight brewing over victims' compensation payments that have already been made.
For Diane Wilson, recovery is slow and lifelong. As a child, her life was shattered by sexual abuse. She was driven onto the streets and by 14 to the Parramatta Girls Training School.
It was horrific. Any dignity that we had was taken away from us.
Between 1950 and 1974, girls deemed neglected or uncontrollable were subjected to punishment, isolation and violence.
It was torturous being there. At times I would wonder whether I would survive it, especially when I was bashed. And just after I was bashed, I was raped as well.
Diane Wilson is one of 16 women who have now settled civil claims. But there's a sting in the tail. Ms Wilson is being asked to repay the $10,000 victims' compensation she previously received.
And I think that's really petty, and I think it's really another slap in the face.
In September last year, the Royal Commission into Child Sex Abuse handed down a final report into redress and civil litigation. It recommended the limitation period for commencing civil litigation should be removed as soon as possible.
They need to legislate tomorrow to remove the statute of limitations for all historical sexual abuse claims, whether it's against the state government or against an NGO or any private individual.
Attorney General Gabrielle Upton promises legislation this year. For victims like Diane Wilson, it can't come soon enough. The state government issued an apology to Diane Wilson and she says it's made a real difference to her life. But for countless other women abused at Parramatta, the battle, legal and emotional, goes on. Natasha Robinson, ABC News.
A former Victorian fire chief has denied claims he tried to railroad a farming family into accepting compensation for chemical contamination from the Fiskville Fire Training Centre. An inquiry's heard the offer of $350,000